Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Halo Effect. I am your host, Robert Lockhart. Hey, let's talk some baseball, huh? Well, the big news coming out of today, Corbin Burnes, no longer a Milwaukee Brewer. He has been traded to the Baltimore Orioles. Well, that's a shame. As everyone knows, that was the pitcher I was hoping the Angels might trade for to be head of their rotation. But it turns out that's not going to be the deal. Um, the Orioles have been in the news a lot, looking for head of the rotation, a guy who's been a veteran ace to kind of usher in a new age of rotation for the Baltimore Orioles. Grayson Rodriguez may very well be the future ace for Baltimore. But right now, he's still on a bit of a learning curve, as far as I know, which is where Corbin Burnes is going to come in for this next season. They were in on Dylan Cease for the longest time, but Chicago's been wanting like an arm, a leg, a kidney, and a liver to get Dylan Cease. And I can't blame him. He's been, a front of the rotation piece for them the last few years. He still has 2 years of control left on his contract. And, yeah, I can agree. Wanting the sun and the moon, the stars is, kind of, yeah, that's right. That's about right. I can't argue with Chicago on that one. But it's obviously going to deter a lot of other teams from getting them because, it's like, well, what pieces do we have to give up? We have to give up a lot of our future to grab this guy for, 2 years? It boggles my mind that, if you're going to trade the sun, the moon, the stars to get a guy like this and you don't think, hey, maybe we should probably extend him? Doesn't cross your mind? Hello. Well, with that said, Dylan Cease thus far is still with Chicago White Sox. He looks like he's probably going to be the head of the rotation at the start of this season. And maybe they trade him during the halfway part in the season, during the right around the deadline. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. That's up to the White Sox. As of now, the Angels still without a number one guy for the head of the rotation. They did pick up Aaron Hicks to play in the outfield along with Trout, along with Ward, along with Moniak, and what some seem to think a finally emerging Joe Adell. Still remains to be seen for me. Obviously, we all know that there's a difference between AAA and the majors. He was hammering in AAA, but against what pitching? Are these all future big leaguers? Are these all guys who are going to be in major league rotations? Nope, not all of them. Probably about 15, maybe 20% of those pitchers are possibly future major leaguers. So, but he did up his numbers in AAA. That's that's a big thing. He was batting over 300 for a while. I think he was batting right around 320. However, if you ask me, if he's not batting more than 350, 360, he's not major league ready. He's you kind of want to see 350 to 360 for a call up to the majors for somebody to hit about 285 minimal. If you're hitting around 320, you're looking probably about 250 to 260. In Joe Adell's case, he still has a major league average of 214. Not good. Especially out of somebody who was a top 10 pick. Super athletic. Yeah, so was Michael Jordan. We all remember what happened when he tried to play baseball. Yeah, he couldn't hit the ball to save his life. So, unless Joe Adell shows that he's able to recognize a breaking ball, he's still not anywhere close to being a major league outfielder in any way, shape, or form. So that's where Aaron Hicks kind of came in. For those of you who remember, Aaron Hicks, he came over to the Yankees in a trade with the Twins, and he performed very well. I mean, he didn't do great for the Twins, but he did well for the Yankees. And they awarded that with a 7-year, $70 million contract. And then he kind of fell flat for the Yankees. It's kind of odd. So they gave him a couple of chances. He kind of fell through. So at this point, they had released him early last year. He was picked up by Baltimore and helped lead Baltimore to a 101 win season. He found something in Baltimore that he couldn't find in New York. Hey, that's baseball. What can I say? It happens. So anyway, his contract with Baltimore was up. The Angels signed him for league minimum. I mean, he literally just signed for a little more than $700,000 with the Angels. But that's because he still owed about $15 million from the Yankees. So they're kind of fitting the bill on that one. Now, the idea with this one is maybe giving Trout, some extra time on at DH to see that he doesn't, hurt himself again. But if anybody really remembers, when did Trout really hurt himself in the outfield? He never hurt himself really in the outfield. He hurt himself running the bases. He hurt himself swinging the bat. He never hurt himself in the outfield. So, it kind of begs the question: is being the DH at times going to protect Mike Trout? It really doesn't seem like it, really, to me. It seems like he's still a viable outfielder every day, playing 150, 155 games, in center field. Defensively, it's really not going to deter him. He's got to be a little bit more careful on the base pass. Aside from that, Mike Trout's still a viable defender. There's really no need to give him more DH time. Now, honestly, in my mind, the way I see things is it looks like the Angels are pretty much going to go with what they have. They needed to replace Shohei Ohtani's production at the plate. They needed to replace Shohei Ohtani's production on the mound. Hell, they even needed a little bit of extra help on the mound in the rotation. They've done pretty much nothing but improve their bullpen. Their bullpen's very improved. Just the additions of Adam Simber, if he's back to being Adam Simber, and Robert Stevenson, and bringing back Matt Moore. That's huge for the bullpen. The bullpen was the least of their improvements that they needed to look at. Because they got a lot of up-and-coming bullpen arms, whether it be Eric Torres, whether it be Luke Murphy, whether it be Ben Joyce, Camden Manachi, even Ben Joyce's twin brother, Zach, who they drafted last year, depending on when he's ready for the bigs. They got a lot of up-and-coming bullpen arms. Soriano's another possibility coming back. Metaros looks more like a bullpen arm than he does a rotation piece because of his control. But they still really have not done that. They've not replaced Shohei Ohtani's production. They haven't done that, and that's not a good thing. They need that bat to replace him. Now, whether that is, Aaron Hicks playing in the field and Trout DHing, or somebody else DHing a little bit more, and the addition of somebody else that will play the infield or the outfield, whatever it might be. All we're looking at is possibilities, nothing for certain. And again, I say the new coaching staff may very well be saying, hey, we don't need to do anything. We can work with what we got. The sad thing that it looks like to me, the Angels want to compete. They want to be in the thick of things. They need to be competing with the Yankees or the Rays or the Twins or the Astros, the Rangers, the Mariners. They need to be competing with these number one teams at the top of their divisions. These guys who have seriously improved, these guys who are competing, they need to be able to compete with that. Right now, it doesn't look like they can really compete much with the Pirates or the Royals. You put the Angels into a 3-game series with the Royals, you have absolutely no idea what the outcome is going to be. The Royals are a team that's still rebuilding. They got a wonderful talent in Bobby Witt, one of the better shortstops, one of the better players in the game. Right now, he's a future megastar, if you ask me. But you want to know for certain that the Angels will cream the Royals in a 3-game series. You want to know for certain that they'll absolutely cream the Rockies in a 3-game series, or the Pirates, or let's say, I don't know, maybe the Marlins of 2 years ago. These teams that are like below 500 teams, you want to be able to say, hey, we'll crush them. We'll, take maybe 2 out of 3, but we're going to outscore them by a bunch. That's what you want. That's what you want to look at with the Angels, and right now, that's I don't see it. It's more like a toss-up. It's a possibility. Right now, the Pirates look like they can outscore the Angels in a 3-game series by about triple. It looks like the Royals will probably take a 3-game series on a coin toss. We all know that the Marlins will probably destroy them now. The Marlins are seriously improved. Just their rotation alone looks phenomenal. That's not what you want to think about when you're looking when you're looking to compete. When you're looking to compete, you have the current and defending world champion Texas Rangers in your division. You need to compete with this. You need to take them head on and be able to win. Right now, I don't think you can. Most of the time, I see you getting swept. But there are still ways to improve. You need to go out and do that. With what you have right now, I don't see you competing. I don't see the Angels competing at all. I see the Mariners competing. They really improved their staff. I see the Pirates competing. They've seriously improved over the last, couple of years. The Cubs are still in the thick of things. Well, we already know that the Dodgers are poised to win the next 10, 15 years, perhaps. I mean, it's not just the fact that they signed Ohtani, Yamamoto, traded for Glass now, signed him long term and all that. Not just because of the fact that they still have Betts, that they still have Max Muncy, that they still have just this awesome team that they've put together. They have a great farm system. Andrew Friedman has really taken the reins for the Dodgers and really kind of rebuilt that franchise to where it can be very respectable coming up through the minor leagues. Now, when I said, consider them like the Yankees of the West and all that, it's because they're spending all this money. You know what? Rightfully so. They have a fan base that really is tired of seeing them choke at the end of it. This is a team that should have won another World Series by now, but has just kind of let down in the playoffs. So they said, all right, enough screwing around. They signed Ohtani. They signed Yamamoto. They traded in for Glass now and extended him. They still have Freddie Freeman over at first base that is an all-star, always an MVP, caliber player. Mookie Betts, same thing. Max Muncy's a solid player for them. Chris Taylor's an all-around player that he can play left, center, possibly move to the infield. He started out as a second baseman. So, I mean, they still have Will Smith behind the plate with Kataya, their top catching prospect, waiting in the wings. And he is a legit prospect. I can tell you that for a fact. I've seen it already. So, but that's on the Dodgers side of things. Angels. If anybody has the ear of Paramedian, tell him to listen up. There's still possibilities out there that you can grab. There's still pieces out there that you can get. Whether it be J.D. Martinez for the lineup, Blake Snell for the rotation, I just don't see it. He's right now better suited to be part of the Giants rotation or part of the Yankees rotation. The Yankees made an offer to him about 6 years, $150 million. Whether they're willing to go up, whether he's willing to come down, or what he's looking for. Don't forget, Boris client. So, yeah, he's going to be asking for top dollar. And, Boris is notorious for hyping his players to be better than they really are, or hyping them up and they fail miserably because they get hurt. Again, like over the last 20 years, the only two players that I can really see, that I can remember, Garrett Cole, Bryce Harper, that's it, have lived up to their billing. So, Blake Snell may not be the answer for the Angels. I don't see it being the answer for the Angels by any stretch of the imagination. Neither is Montgomery. Montgomery is a great number 2. I could compare him with Patrick Sandoval if Patrick Sandoval is on his game. They're kind of the same pitcher, so there's no need to grab Montgomery. So it's going to have to be either through trade or hoping and praying that 2021 first-round pick Sam Bachman gets stretched out and is part of your rotation. Sam Bachman has definitely got starter kind of stuff, and he's got head of the rotation kind of stuff. I've seen the bite on his breaking ball. It's a nasty bite. He's got good movement on his changeup, and he can throw his fastball averaging 97, 98. At times we'll touch triple digits. But he'll average about 97, 98, as low as 96. Sam Bachman, I hope he turns out to be everything the Angels hope he is, because thus far he's had a back injury that's deterred his 2022 season, and a shoulder injury that deterred his 2023 season in the Angels bullpen. So it's still questionable. A possibility, but questionable. It's not something you want to bank on. That's why it was smart to go and get someone like Corbin Burnes, if you could have gotten him, or if you tried. That would have been the idea. Someone who you can count on, someone is a head of rotation piece, and someone who you could probably extend if you had to. That would have been the smart thing to do. Right now, you're basically just kind of rolling the dice. And if you're trying to compete, rolling the dice ain't a smart thing. You can't bank on things you're not completely sure of. Have high hopes? Sure, of course. You can always have high hopes. But you can't bank on it to compete. So your bullpen's better. Great. What are you going to do in your rotation? How are you going to replace Ohtani? What are you going to do at the plate in your lineup? How are you going to replace Ohtani? I haven't seen it. I just haven't seen it. I've seen reclamation projects. I've seen, help in the outfield. Like I said, I'm not saying Aaron Hicks is a bad player. No, he's obviously shown that he can be a good player. It's just not the kind of player you might want to get. If he helps out, great. But for the most part, it just looks like you're kind of sliding and hoping that you just scrap. You're going to be a scrappy team. You can't always compete with a scrappy team. So do yourselves a favor. Look in other avenues. Pray to God that Sam Bachman can be the head of your rotation. But look at other avenues. In the meantime, see if you got the collateral that you can absolutely use to maybe get Dylan Cease. Or, halfway through the season, if you're still hoping you can compete, even though you're probably not, grab Shane Bieber. If he's improved, perhaps he will, perhaps he won't. I say he needs to stick with Cleveland. I hope they don't trade him yet because he still needs to prove himself. Not exactly going to get top dollar for him right now. You wait till, you wait until the mid-season with the trade deadline. If he's improved, you can get, better value for him. Right now, I don't think you're going to. So, with that said, I'm going to leave it there. Burnes is now a Baltimore Oriole. That was the big trade. The Angels signed Aaron Hicks. The Padres went on to sign Wandy Peralta for 4 years. It's good for their bullpen. Hector Neris, who was the seventh inning guy for the Astros the last few years, is officially a Chicago Cub. So that's good for their bullpen. To some of the other teams out there, mainly the Padres, go get your outfielders because you're lacking there big time. And again, for the Angels, it would be smart for you to find a viable number one starter. Unless you're just hoping and praying on the guys you have now. Still not a wise decision, but hey, prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong. I would love to be proved wrong in this particular case. But I highly doubt it. I really doubt it in this case. So, with that said, I'm going to end it there. I'll see you all next time. Go Halos.